I would ask you this because the last time it felt like this around here is when the natives got restless, because the last 15 years have been a real pleasure. I can't even imagine what it is to be a Patriots fan right now, where you're like, look at what we had compared to what we now have. The standard is such that it looks sad now. It looked plenty sad when it was Dion Waiters and Hassan Whiteside. And since then, in the last 8 years, there have been a lot of swings and misses outside of Jimmy Butler. In fact, they used to just be a team that didn't trust young players or develop young players. Like, that's something that came about in Pat Riley's 70s. It was always Dan Marley out there in his late 30s, because they just didn't trust these players that they now refuse to give away, right? Because Khalil Ware, I think Heat fans would tell you, I'd hesitate there if all I'm getting is a year of Durant, or I'm getting 2 years of Durant, just because you can tell that at 20 years old, he has a chance to develop into something that is obviously going to grow and is physically overwhelming. But he has failed to get the acquisitions outside of Jimmy Butler that Jimmy Butler needed to take the next step here. That's not up for argument.
Yeah, forget getting the guys that are better than Jimmy. He's failed to get the guys that you can round out a roster with and make you better than the 10 seed. They're talking about DeMar DeRozan now. DeMar DeRozan was in play for Miami, and he listed Miami last year. You know what he did last year? Chose Sacramento. That was DeMar DeRozan. You have guys like Siakam and OG Anunoby making big-time contributions to their team in deeper runs. These are guys that could have helped Miami. It's not just the big guys that Miami is failing at. They're failing at everybody.
But let me ask you this question, though, because I really do want to ask it, because, of course, they lose today. There's no questioning that. They are a source of mockery. The Heat missed again on Durant. But I'm asking you legitimate, like in terms of what you go into your offseason with, and you're going to be in play for all 5 of the guys that may or may not be available. You've already heard from their people. All of that stuff is in play with 5 guys. If I say that the priority from the beginning of the offseason is Giannis and protecting all of the pieces that get you Giannis, I understand why you would doubt that they could do that. But if that succeeds, then all of this becomes moot, does it not?
Correct.
Does it not immediately become moot if a month from now and I'm not saying you're not right today. You're obviously right today. They swung and missed again on Durant.
Better get a start on that. If a month from now, the entire free agency class is rounded out. You're going to get Giannis. You're going to give up most of your roster and all the picks to get Giannis. What are you going to surround him with? You've run out of time.
That's the thing. You need things around. He's been bounced in the first round a couple of years already.
That's why the timing was crucial to get Durant done now. Like, acquiring Durant doesn't completely take you out of the Giannis thing either.
But Mike, it's Wiggins and Rozier. You send those contracts away like that. You're dumping something on the Suns if you're sending Rozier and Wiggins with your picks, and you don't have enough picks.
They were all cool with that, apparently. And it came between Ware and Jovic and not wanting to include them, and that's the pro-Heat spin after the fact, when the initial reports are we didn't even want to invoke Haywood Highsmith in the deal.
Do you think the Heat believe that they failed in not getting Kevin Durant? And the reason that I ask it like that is because based on this conversation we're having, like, the Heat could have had him if they wanted. Include this guy, which I don't know to be true or not, but include this guy and you could have Kevin Durant, and the Heat decided,
but what if
no, we don't want to.
What if that's the guy you already know brings you Giannis? What if you know that you know that it's not going to just be Duncan Robinson? Like, where's the piece? It's not even Jaquez anymore. It's not Jovic either.
That's why I'm asking. Do they believe they failed?
If the Heat have an asset, it's Ware.
Right. That's who they wanted for Durant. And the Heat lowballed the whole offer. The Heat did not give a credible offer to get Durant.
The microphone goes in front of your face.
It was in front of my face.
I just don't understand.
You moved it away from me.
Well, I guess I do understand why Heat fans keep thinking that it's their birthright to be involved in these conversations with the superstar. And naturally, if the superstar says he's interested in Miami, like it's been alluded to, like he's been cryptic, like other people have reported that Miami is certainly in this mix, but here's what's happening with Pat Riley right now is he has a very proud reputation of being the guy that closes the deals. He is the deal maker. He is this great architect of championship teams. And lately, he has failed repeatedly. And if you want to pivot and say he chose to fail this time, cool. He's been a finalist for a certain Hall of Famer at least 4 times that we know of. And he's never been able to secure This guy, even as the asking price continues to go down, even as Kevin Durant continues to still be a real good pro, as someone that you even admitted, Zaz, would make this team better. And I think you
Not
can
by a ton.
absolutely say that it's a failure. If they were a finalist and they didn't get the prize, they failed.
So you're saying, though, just to be clear, I want to make it clear, if it can be this clear. If I give Ware to the Suns and get Durant, I'm out on Giannis. You're good with that.
How many times are we going to say this?
I'm just asking the question.
How many deals did we pass up that could have made us better because we were going to get Lillard or we're going to get Durant? No, get better, and you still have some powder to try to get Giannis. You still have draft picks. There was only one draft pick in that deal. It's just the Giannis thing needs to happen. It's not going to be one of those things that happens a month from now.
Sometimes a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, Dan.
Yep.
That's a good contribution, Billy. Hold on just a second.
Applause? Oh.
Minor penalty, 2 minutes for adding nothing.
Okay. Adding nothing. So Pat Riley did yesterday. Where's he?
There is a bit of an obsession with the sports information people. The information brokers in sports are now the, most highly paid and famous of the journalists. But there is different reporting on what was available for Kevin Durant. And I would say if some of the reporting is right, it would be insane for the Miami Heat to be unwilling to give up Jovic for Durant. I just don't know what to believe in the reporting because the reporting is making it unclear to me because you've got different people saying different things, and I haven't made the calls yet to know, but it would sound insane to me that the Miami Heat wouldn't trade Jovic for Durant, that would be the stumbling block. I don't believe that.
Did we believe Jovic was in the potential package for Damian Lillard? Yeah. Like, was he a name that was being talked about, we thought?
Back then.
So, we're saying we believe that the Heat were going to throw in Jovic for Lillard and not Durant?
He's younger.
I mean, he's more developed now. Here's how the report went. Initially, it was way worse, and it was Shams' initial report. And as we know, Shams is about as reputable a reporter in that sport, an information guy, and
doesn't mean he's right about everything.
Moreover, the one time the Miami Heat challenged him on this, and Bernie Lee, Jimmy Butler's agent.
That was the mascot.
No. Jimmy Butler's agent also made a big public show about going at Shams' credibility, and months later, it was pretty evident who was right about that stuff. It was Shams. So this is how it went. Shams comes out, invokes plenty of names that would make your skin crawl if the Miami Heat actually decided to not include a name like Haywood Highsmith. That was a Shams report. And then the spin to Barry Jackson, and that's what I will dub it. Because it seems like damage control spin every time these guys now fail to get a superstar was that, no, Highsmith was in the deal. It was Jovic and Ware. Those were the pieces that we weren't willing to part with.
You say Miami Heat spin, but this isn't exactly a leaky organization, and they don't really like it, as no one would, when any of their players are mentioned in trade talks. Like
you just underscored why it's spin.
Right.
Because the leaks don't come out, and when they do, it's a concerted effort to craft the narrative.
I don't agree with that because Dan is saying that the Heat doesn't like when their players' names are mentioned because it creates problems. And now you're saying that the Heat are actually going out of the way to say, no, we weren't including this guy too.
Mike, hold on. It's not crafting the narrative to, if you think that Highsmith is someone that you care about as a person and employee because he's done what's been asked of him here, you might not want him to think that he's just readily available to everybody. Like, you might not want to insult him that way when you're asking a great deal of him mentally and physically every day.
Are you guys, I'm serious, are you guys foolish? Are you fools? Are you fools to think that these players won't feel like their names are being brought up in trades because the Miami Heat haven't leaked their names, as if other aggregate accounts and other reporters aren't invoking it? Do you really, truly believe that the Miami Heat can protect their players from having their feelings hurt because they themselves don't leak the names? Or is this the logic that we are applying in 2025?
But why, after the deal is already done, they've already lost out on this deal, would they feel the need to say, yes, we definitely would have traded this guy and this guy and this guy.
Save,
how is that beneficial to them?
To save face. And also, that kind of nukes the original point, doesn't it? That they don't like these players' names being out there, but then Barry Jackson, who is a great reporter, does some digging, and then the names come out anyways?
Well, yeah, that's the whole point, right? It can't be both.
It is both, because then it serves them. Because everyone is saying, what the hell are you talking about? You don't want to include a 28-year-old Haywood Highsmith who went undrafted as if he's this great project of yours.
Okay,
he's
but
a finished product.
If we're using logic here, and I'm great with using logic, why would anyone believe that the Heat would not include Haywood Highsmith in a deal for Kevin Durant?
That's
I'm
what we're
sorry, I don't
asking.
buy it.
Because it was reported by
We
a
can keep
reputable
asking it, but
guy.
I don't buy it.
It's believable.
Reporters are wrong sometimes.
It's
I would
believable.
know. I'm a journalist.
The Miami Heat haven't been able to pull off one of these big deals in a long time. They haven't. In fact, the only big deal that they've been able to pull off in the last few years, we're not going to include Kyle Lowry because they got hit for tampering with that, and we all know that deal was made months in advance of it actually happening, was Jimmy Butler. And by that point, they had Philadelphia over a barrel. So then Josh Richardson goes. Remember, they could have had Jimmy Butler for that regular season run. They didn't want to include Josh Richardson in the deal. Josh Richardson. So you have a huge resume building of the Miami Heat not being able to pull off these big deals. Why? Because they cannot part with guys like Josh Richardson.
Billy, you were trying to get in there, and there wasn't quite room.
No, it's fine. My candle. I was just gonna say, you're asking why it is the Heat would do that because, like, you have a fan base that's now questioning whether or not the people running the organization are capable of pulling off trades, and the decision they have to make is like, well, yeah, we know what we're doing. Still, yeah, Pat hasn't totally lost it. Yeah, he's still the Godfather. Yeah, he's doing this. He's doing that. So instead, they just throw out the names to kind of save face, and if they have to hurt the feelings of some of their lesser players, so be it.
What does totally lost it mean?
What do you mean?
What does totally lost it mean?
Yeah, what's it?
It?
Pat hasn't totally
That je ne
lost
sais
it.
quoi.
Yeah, he's definitely lost that gravitas.
I'm not saying he has. I'm saying people are wondering if he has. It's
It's
a fair
fastball.
question to ask.
You know who has it now? Bill Zito.
Now he
Yeah.
walks in the room.
Wow.
Now he walks in the room, drops the rings, and everyone thinks it was an accident. They're like, "Hey, come here."
Right here, you dropped something. By the way,
Wow.
They start looking around. Oh, make sure there's no pills in there. The dogs, the kids could get those.
Oh, wow. So that's what we're going to do now.
We're not. Some people are doing that, not us.
Others are saying,
Some.
Okay, so wait. I'm sitting in a
Dan
room.
Le Batard Show, colon.
Last time I heard from him, he was talking about some weird orb thing that he had in his hand in a 24-hour marathon. We were all super confused.
very strange. Called amino acid. Yeah. I mean, there
writing
is a
was on
case,
the wall.
There is a case building here.
Wait a
And
minute.
thank you for
Now
that
you
graphic
guys-
on
now
South
you
Beach
guys-
Sessions.
you
Maybe
guys-
I'm washed.
You guys are being really disrespectful.
Not us.
You're treating him
Some.
like Joe Biden.
I mean, he's a similar age.
So it was spitballed back
If
here.
he's dropping something on the table, is it his marbles?
The idea that you guys would now make it so that he's in front of Durant and now nobody wants him to get on his hands and knees because he spilled the rings on the floor, that they've just all fallen to the floor with clangs, really disrespectful of a man.
The door swings
people-
open.
Yeah.
It used to be him just like his aura walks in. Now it's like, go sit over there, Pat. That's where you're sitting for this
Wow.
meeting.
Man, that's bullshit.
People are doing that. We shouldn't. I don't think it's fair, but some people are.
Amino acid.
Do you know that Pat Riley is basically the same age as Al Davis was when Al Davis pulled out the overhead projector and started going at Chris Mortensen, and everybody was like, man, the game has passed this guy by. He is old.
Mortensen.
Shouldn't say the game has passed him by. That's not fair.
Billy and Mike doing a disrespectful tap
No.
dance.
No.
A
No.
disrespectful tap dance on a man who, until the Panthers existed recently, is the only reason we've had any kind of winning in this town for 20 years because of what he built of the Miami Heat. So I'm asking Zaz and Cody as caretakers for local reason and sanity. Mike and Billy are speaking for a lot of the fan base and being just generally frustrated. What? The Heat are always going to swing and miss now?
Yeah, I mean, I get the frustration, but my point is Look at what we just watched in the finals. This league is different now, man. It's not like the Phoenix Suns just got caught doing the thing where let's just get as many superstars as we possibly can and we'll figure out the rest. Look at those two teams last night, especially Indiana. Like, we could debate if Halliburton's even a superstar, period, but then everybody else, they got 7, 8, 9 players. That's how the league is built now, is you have to have a really deep team. The Heat give up all these pieces, and now you have Adebayo, Hero, and Durant. Well, I already told you I don't believe that.
All these pieces.
But you're also
I gotta say it again.
You're also saying that you'd be fine with them doing that for Giannis.
Well, yes.
So it's the
Giannis
if
a
the
little bit
league has
better than
passed them
Durant.
by and they're doing it wrong, they do it wrong with Giannis, and it wouldn't
so
work by
full of
your
it.
argument either.
Giannis a little bit better than Durant. I'm going on a limb.
If they got Durant yesterday, you'd be all in on
I'd
the
been
deal.
fine
You'd say,
with it.
you'd say,
I'd have been
oh,
loving it.
bull.
Oh, bull. Oh, get out of here. Where's the chicken?
You come in here waving the flag.
Hold on. Where's the chicken? Yells the EP.
I don't have it.
Hold on.
Better not plan for me.
Chicken time.
Come on, you're such a fraud.
Not me.
They got Durant. All it cost you was a word, Joe. It's a great deal. Hey, let me tell you, it's a great deal. Good trade. Hey, you can still get Giannis. You can still get Giannis.
Godfather got us. He hasn't lost his touch.
That one chicken sounded stupid.
Billy, speak for the Heat fan base.
Me? People do think of me as the voice of the Heat fan. It is a good.
He's been the voice of reason.
In
I
all of
try.
your frustration,
I try.
You've been making fun of swing and miss.
No,
now.
I have not. I've said some people are doing so. If I'm coming and I'm reporting the news to you as I have received it, I'm a man that goes around. I'm a man about town.
Not
I'm a man
fooling
that
anyone
talks
with
to
that
people.
move. Some people are saying.
What do you
Some
mean?
fans are saying.
Man about
I
town.
heard.
How so?
He is fooling people. He
I'm
thinks
not
it's a
fooling
movie.
people. I'm telling you guys. Listen, you guys are up Pat Riley's ass. If we're going to be honest with you, you guys are not living in reality. There's a cavern up there that you guys are living in. You can't hear what the fans
I
are
bet it's
actually
nice.
saying. Okay, I'm just telling you what the fans are actually saying here. If you don't want to hear it, that's fine. But I can't just lie to you. I can't make up news to make you guys happy about what's going
Cody,
on. I'm a newsman.
what is the proper amount of respect to have here? Because I've told you, you have heard me over the last few years compliment ESPN a number of times on how it is they've treated Dick Vitale and Lee Corso toward the ends of their televised careers. It's hard to do that in this business. This business lacks a certain grace at the end. It's cutthroat, and they speak for the fan base, spoiled as it is by the relevance of the last 30 years that no one's entitled to here since Pat Riley got here, but that's the standard. And now it howls at his gate in a way I've never heard before.
Billy's not wrong. All you have to do is look at social media, which can be very brutal toward and against Pat Riley now. I mean, he is losing the faith of Panthers fans or Heat fans who see what the Panthers are doing and say, why are we being left behind by a hockey team? You know, and
Thank you.
But I don't believe that they made a good faith effort for Durant. I mean, that was a effort they made. If they're not even going to throw in, you talk about Jovic, Kelly Ware is the one, obviously the bigger prize, and then they're only offering one first-round draft pick.
But I don't know what's true. I don't know what's true.
So the bad stuff, we just don't believe that.
Yeah, we don't know if the bad stuff.
No, the not logical stuff is what we don't believe.
Says you made the argument. Look at the NBA Finals. You need to have deep teams. Well, I look at the NBA Finals. I see a team that traded Paul George to another team, got a bunch of assets, got guys like Pascal Siakam, guys that Miami couldn't get. And I look at OKC, and the whole thing about Heat culture is they're not going to tank seasons. They're not going to stockpile draft picks. Okay, fine. We did it with the big three, depleted our assets. We made it back to 2 finals with Jimmy Butler doing it your way. But right now, the Miami Heat seem about as far from the top of the mountain as they probably ever been. Because even that one year where they got the number 2 pick, you still had a prime D Wade. They're about as far as ever, and everybody else's way is looking better than Pat Riley's way.
All right,
now.
let me move on to what it is that we did witness last night, okay? Because when I remember where I was when you heard Kawhi and Paul George going to the Clippers. What is happening there? Are the Clippers getting in the game? Going to wrestle?
Where were you?
wrestle the city
I want to know where you were, man.
away.
Yeah.
So I was at Las Rosas.
Was it a
Wasn't that
big
big a
thing?
deal,
It
was
was a where were you moment.
Were you at a meal?
I was home.
Say stop the presses.
Do you guys? I did not say stop the presses. Why would I be doing that? Did you
Well,
think
you
I
were a
was?
writer.
Did you think I was in a press room? Do you think I
I
was?
don't
in
know.
a,
You won't tell us.
Are you of the belief that I was at a printing press?
Yes.
You were next to the wire.
Right. Union worker.
The last time I heard Billy yell "Stop the presses" is when he was reporting that Daniel Day-Lewis was coming out of retirement. He used the
shocker.
phrase
Yeah.
"Stop the presses."
Guess what? He's back again. Oh, he didn't actually retire.
Right. Who knew he retired?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyways, where were you?
Stop the presses.
Sounds like he doesn't remember.
Where were you on that fateful night?
Where were you?
Dan saying stop the presses. He doesn't want to answer this question.
But you remember where you were?
I was,
Where were you?
yes, I was.
could
at
just
the,
lie.
I was at the Cleveland. Yes, I could just lie. Thank you, Roy.
You're welcome.
But I do remember where I was, and I assume that I didn't think I was saying anything. I know you guys were quick to seize there, but when Kawhi and Paul George were traded, I feel like a lot of people remember that was a lot of picks, and it was signaling a change that at the time I don't think any of us had, hey, and in a few years, Paul George will not have gone very far and his body would break. Kawhi Leonard would have had his body break. Number of different bodies, including one last night, have broken during these playoffs in the pursuit of this thing. And here's OKC with the most valuable asset you can now have in the futurized elements of this league, which is, we can lock everyone in for 7 years at a fixed cost where they can't leave OKC because we can game the system by having all the picks and just create this frenzy because we've got an MVP and we've got a team that was actually too young to win the title. Like that team was great, and that team's youth showed throughout all of that final as Mike's sitting here pining for Siakam when none of us thought that was the Heat standard when Siakam was available.
No, because everybody was doing the thing like, we'll get Bradley Beal instead.
Okay, but
you
I'm
guys were too good to even
okay,
consider
okay,
guys like Pascal
but
Siakam
I'm
because
just-
we were chasing the next
Right,
rail.
and now you look smart on Anunoby, and you look smart with perimeter two-way players, and yes, the league changed, and I will forgive an 80-year-old man who has revolutionized the way that the leagues change, has gone from throwing it in the post to the center to three-point basketball, and then there was another shift here, and they did not keep up by knowing that Indiana would be good enough with Siakam as their second-best player, when I don't think when Siakam went there that any of us thought it was that. We thought that they would get better. We did not think Indiana was a contender because they got Siakam.
It was also a different time in Heat history. They were closer to the success of yesteryear, and they had found that their way of operating was the proper way. I understand why Miami Heat fans fell in love with the way that the Miami Heat do business up until very recently, when it was probably time to capitulate and they probably went a season and a half, 2 seasons too long. It was the right way. But now these are fair and accurate questions.